We're in Berlin. And we can't get across the wall through the gate, whatever the case. But
another record gate. Another record gate.
It's
like the third time this year they announced the biggest gate in history.
And that's, again, it's the biggest gate in the country. It's the biggest gate in history. It's the biggest gate in the world. It's the biggest gate in the universe. And the people cheer. Think about this, Brian. Somebody said this on Twitter. I don't know who it was, or I would credit them. They are getting the people who had to pay the most money ever to cheer that they had to pay the most money ever to see this fucking show. Now think about that.
You know, it's crazy. I mean, it really does change wrestling. It was always kind of a working class ticket buyer. And that's not the case anymore. Part of it is they're priced out, but part of it is the people with the money are willing to pay.
Well, and that's the thing is that now, you know, the WWE going around the world and not only being able to draw these crowds in these major megalopolises and get the payments from the state governments or country governments or whatever. Before, it was about repetition. In your territory, you develop a fan base and get people watching your TV, and you give them shows every week or every 2 weeks or every month at the arena. And you keep them coming back, and even more on the big shows, buy tickets. And you had to make them affordable, the tickets, because people were paying anywhere from 12 to 52 times a year to see your shows in that particular town. But now they can just go all over the world. So now it's like Ringling Brothers. You know, it's a big deal. They come to town, No,
it's bigger than that, because Ringling Brothers was never able to upscale their ticket prices the way WWE does.
Well, that's true, because they wanted the little children to come.
Right.
And they were willing to mistreat the elephants to get them to come in.
Well, why do you have to make this a downer of a segment? We're having a good conversation here.
Well, hey, some of them
Mr. PETA has to jump in.
Some of them elephants deserved it. Fucking pricks.
That's not what I meant either.
But no, and actually the circus in those days was like, if they had a circus these days, you know, maybe Cirque du Soleil. But it was the same kind of thing, is that you wanted the kids and the families to come, and that way they'd come every year just instead of, you know, every week or whatever. But now you got to mortgage your house.
There has to be at least like one elephant. It's like, please don't send me back to the fucking jungle. Please let me keep doing this.
Oh, yeah. No, there's some of them are lazy. And they get used to domestic living, and they don't want to go back to the jungle and fight the white hunters with the lightning sticks that come to take their tusks.
All right, this has been Happy Talk.
Well, anyway, no, you started this. Were you talking about elephants? What were you talking about?
Record gates and how, you know, this is Vince's...
Then why were we talking about ivory hunting?
Well, you brought up Ringling Brothers, and everyone always compared what Vince McMahon was trying to do to Ringling Brothers, as opposed to the weekly territories like you talked about, come into town a few times a year, but scoop up the entire audience to see the biggest show on earth.
Yeah, well, and now it's more like the Rolling Stones.
Well, they're doing it better than Vince. Do you think Vince could appreciate that? Like, do you think he could sit back and realize they're doing it better than I could?
Boy, I think he realizes that they are, but at the same time, he's thinking, well, if I'd have stuck around, I would have, I don't know. I don't know if he can bring himself to say, wow, I should have got out of the way before I did. I don't know if that thought will ever hit him.
Has it ever seemed so well-tuned?
Well, no, and part of this is these people are used to the people that run movie studios and, you know, these major goddamn deals. It was still at heart, even though he found wonderful people to work in the office and et cetera, as we've talked about, it was still kind of rooted in a wrestling company, and Vince's didn't want to do international pay-per-views. Didn't, you know, the time difference, the meltdown mentally that he had about just going off the beam with these goofy gimmicks over the last 10 years, all that stuff. They're, now they're like, fuck, we can maximize everything and we don't have to worry about the billionaire coming in and wanting somebody to bark like a dog. So, but I don't know whether he will ever be able to come to terms with, yeah, geez, I may have, the last few years, I was holding him back.
You could definitely say the combination of Paul Levesque and Nick Khan is just, the best thing that company could have asked for post-Vince.
Well, yeah, because Triple H has the wrestling mind even more than Vince, because he was a fan of and student of things that Vince scoffed at. And so he's more wrestling, but at the same time, these people are more big business. They're used to paying people millions of dollars to do shit, but they figure out a way to make a profit on it. So, and they don't care about on the pay-per-view, which we'll get to later on. They were talking about, Revolution Pro and West Side Extreme Wrestling in Germany. Vince would have did, what the fuck? No, but they're giving these people's backgrounds. Before they came here to the biggest show on earth, they had excelled in other places. They even mentioned Punk won his first Ohio Valley Wrestling title in a strap match. They even mentioned that, for fuck's sake. So it's, again, they don't give it. They know they're so far ahead that there's no reason not to acknowledge 85 or 90% of the fucking wrestling in the world. Maybe with one glaring exception.
Hey, I got the rodeo on in the background on CBS right now. You know what sucks if you're a big rodeo fan? You can never be the hat fan.
Now what now?
You can never be like, hey, hat guy's here. You can never be that guy because everyone has a hat on.
Well, then you need to be the guy that comes in with a hat on a hat.
I see, now it works. I guess it works in that case.
And it would work in that. Anyway,